Hi everybody. Let me get this balanced. Just had an Asian giant hornet literally buzz me. Sitting here on this bench here in the park where I was yesterday. It's a nice place, and the summer is here, so the wildlife is increasingly active. And so I was literally just sitting here, just hit the live button. The big old Japanese giant hornet came zipping in, checked me out, and took off. Hello, welcome. My name is Kurt. This is my daily good life meditation video. Something that I do every morning, sometime in this hour period, this range of hour. I think I'll get a little closer to doing it at a regular time every day as I settle into a more daily routine. I feel like I'm approaching the season of routine. The retiring in Japan, like this man across the way. He's coming out of his house in his pajamas right now to water his plants. He did this yesterday too. I was here at the same time. Water his plants and goes right back in. He's older than me. He's got to be in his late 60s. Looks pleasant. Looks pleased. Propping his door open, letting a little breeze in. He's got his daily. You know, that might be a part of the trick. Now he's opening his window, let a little air in. It might be part of the trick of making this work is to settle into a daily. Because I'm a little bit all over the place still. To be expected, right? I mean, it's like when if you arrive on vacation someplace, or you move to a new city, you have to find your way around for a little bit before you settle into a routine of some sort, usually mandated and facilitated by the necessities of life, whatever job we're doing or whatever requirements there are, which makes things a little easier, right? I mean, as tough as it may be to have a routine that we don't like, it's easy when that routine is something that we have to do. Stockholm syndrome, maybe. But when you're free, you can make that routine what you want. It's the dilemma of all the choices, right? I don't feel like that's a dilemma right now for me, but it's causing me to be a little bit scattered in my mornings, right? Sometimes I'll be in Hirasawa, up in the mountains for a while. Now I'm down here. Before, when the winter was here, I was at Mini Stop. And none of these are mistakes, and none of them are it's not like one was choosing against one or the other. It's kind of just adapting to where the season and the opportunity leads me. The reason I'm here today was I injured my foot, and I can't walk very well right now until I kind of heal up a little bit. I injure a lot easier now. Well, I should say I've always injured easily. I think we all do. We all injure as we do, but I recover more slowly now. So this is more of a closer walk. So I took advantage of the fact and stopped at 7-Eleven and got some, or Family Mart, got some coffee, and sitting here in this pleasant, very, very pleasant little place right here. Catching up on everything. Anyway, all that was by way of introduction to say hello. My name is Kurt. I do these videos. I do other videos too, not as much as right now, but mainly this one. And live that I'm broadcasting from my balcony, which I really enjoy broadcasting that, even though it's mostly an empty balcony. I make appearances out there, and my dog Rudy makes appearances out there once in a while. It's running right now. I really enjoy that. In and looking at it myself. So continuing, I make these videos every day, at about this time every day. And this is my personal journal video. It's called The Good Life. It's something I've been doing since 2018. I don't think I've missed a single day. Been very consistent about this. It's a very strong and established routine in my life. It's very important to me. It's probably it's the moment every day. If you've ever tried free diving, which is a type of diving in the ocean without scuba gear, you're just using your breath. You have all your mask and snorkel and fins and maybe you dive down and explore, and then you come up and you rest on the surface for a little bit, take a breath, hyperventilate a little bit to saturate the lungs with oxygen, then back down again, explore a little bit, and come back up. And when you free dive, you get this cadence going. You go down, stay underwater for a minute, come back up, breathe for a minute, down, explore. And if you do this for a couple of hours, you just reach this cadence. This video that I make every day is my rise to the surface. When I lived in Southern California, when I was a free diver, I would go alone to the ocean. And I would go, which you're not supposed to do, but I did because, going alone. And I would put on my gear and I would swim out to the kelp beds off of Southern California, this giant forest of kelp. And I would dive through the kelp all alone. And you go down, these kelps create these great canopies, kind of like this canopy above me. And there was these big corridors, kind of like the bamboo forest behind my house. It reminds me a lot of that bamboo forest. Because the kelp rises from the bottom as great strands that can be more than 100 feet tall. They rise up like bamboo. And then at the top, they form a canopy. The kelp spreads out at the top and creates these rooms with these stalks of kelp like this and this canopy above. And as a freediver, you can pop above the surface. Sometimes you have to push through the kelp like a submarine coming through the iceberg and through the ice at the northern latitudes. Come up. You don't even have to have your whole head go through. You can just have your snorkel stick through far enough. And you sometimes do that. You just kind of sit there and you breathe at the surface. Maybe laying flat until your body saturates with oxygen again. Take 3 hyperventilative breaths, and then down you go again. And then since you don't have no scuba tank, you're just you're free diving. And you drop down below the canopy, and now you're flying through the kelp strands, literally gliding, going up and down, all along. And if the bottom isn't too far down, you can go down and kind of glide along the little rock crevices there. It's really similar to the bamboo forest behind my house. And so I sit there on the balcony and the bamboo is there, and it reminds me of that because when bamboo gets tall to the top, it fronds out like this, kind of bends over, and I can see little butterflies flying through the canopy, and the birds come zipping through, the sparrows zip through, the suzumebachi, the giant hornets flying around. It's just like that, seeing the fish flying around. Anyway, all that by way of saying, in the course of that kind of exploration in a kelp forest, like I said, I would come to the surface, press my snorkel on the right side through the kelp, and rest at the surface and breathe. Equalizing, getting the body oxygen rich again before another dive. This daily video, which I've been doing daily for so many years, is that moment in the course of the day. When freediving, I had this cadence of, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute underwater, rise to the surface, another minute and a half at the surface, minute down, a minute and a half up. Do that for hours. And then you're done, you've explored the whole kelp forest, and you're up somewhere else, and the shore is, a quarter mile away. And it's kind of exciting, it's fun. Making these videos feels just like that. I pop up for air in this period of time every day, and I reflect, and it's my resting period, and I reflect on the last 24 hours. How did things go? What did I see down there while I was diving? What challenges, what opportunities did I meet? How could I have done better? And then I take a rested breath, and down, back in again, I dive, and I'll see you all again in the morning tomorrow when I come back up for air and reflect on the succeeding 24 hours that came. I'm still in the introduction part. That's what I'm doing for you new viewers. I do this every day, and if it's heavy with talk about myself, that's because this is my own personal live journal. So that's the purpose. It's like a Dear Diary moment. Also, I do talk about sensitive subjects in this video, so just be forewarned. Lots of sensitive subjects. I also want to say thank you to those who watch my videos and who are members on YouTube and my supporters on Patreon. I really, really do appreciate it. Even though I haven't been adventuring lately, your support helps to fuel that. I'll be getting back out in the mountains as soon as I can secure my Japanese driver's license again. Yumiko and I have just about all the paperwork ready. We have a date picked. We're going to go down and meet with the driver's license authorities. I think it's in 2 weeks. But until then, I'm trying to ease off on the driving, just in case I don't want to get into another accident with an international driver's license. You know, I got lucky the first time. So, okay, let's start into it. I do read comments at the end, and I'll respond at the end. And I do have to be a little bit time sensitive. I am meeting with all the oldsters in my neighborhood at 6:30 every morning to do our morning exercise, and that's another new routine that I really am excited about that one, and it's really good. I've met with him 3 times now. Today will be the 4th day. It's really fun and stimulating, and dare I say, it really makes me feel old to do that, and that's not a bad thing. But I mean, okay, here's the deal. So it's at 6:30. It takes about 10 minutes to do, from 6:30 to 6:40, and we do it in our neighborhood in front of one of our neighbors' house. They're kind of a community leader. They're not the formal community leader, but they're kind of, you know, some families are kind of like that, kind of the community boss. And the house that does it, they have a beautiful landscaping, and they're older. They're much older than me. They're in their 80s. And I would say that I'm definitely the youngest person in this group. I'm being 61. Everybody else has got to be in their 70s and 80s. So a little bit, I feel like Doogie Howser, MD. You know, like, you know, I'm among my peers, but I'm not one of them. You know, because I'm so much younger than everybody else. So this will factor into it. And so in front of the house there, they have beautiful landscaping, and they have this one little wrought iron shelf that they put out, and they put the radio there every morning. And at 6:30 a.m. here in Japan, broadcast throughout the nation, they broadcast a radio exercise regime, and there's Daiichi and Daini, the first one and the second one. And it takes, like I said, about 10 minutes, including stretching, and you kind of do this kind of this rigorous, you know, everybody, this is like a song at the start before the exercise. It's more complex. It's more complex than just the exercise, right? You have to kind of the stretching, the patriotic hymn, and then the exercises themselves. And so we do this, and the reason that makes me feel old is that while I'm doing this, the younger men are, and there's that guy, he's got his dress, he's put his clothes on now, he's no longer wearing his pajamas. I'm catching the routine of all of us oldsters. He's across the street now, I can see him. He's come out to examine his plants. Anyway, while I'm doing that, younger people, and when I by younger, I mean middle-aged. I mean, these are 40-somethings, 50-somethings even. They're traipsing by on their way to the train or pretty much on their way to the train to go to work. And I remember being amongst that group before, where at that same time, I would have been walking literally past that same group that I'm now a member of, the radio exercise team, on my way to work. And here we are, all us oldsters, wearing our shorts and shirts and our baggy shirts that don't fit us so well anymore because we're not as toned as we once were. Our physiques are lacking. And they're walking by, and they don't, well, we're busy, we're doing radio exercise, so nobody says good morning, but there's kind of a distance and a gap between that younger generation. It's like a cohort, you know. Those are and I see them differently now. I remember when I was among them, and I would walk past, and I would see those group of oldsters, and I'm sure that some of you who are in Japan see those groups of oldsters exercising at the park. They seem of a different species, right? They're like a world apart. Their engagement with the world is something different. It's like, if you really are old, you remember how old people used to play gate ball, and you'd see them, and they're like really of another world. They're like doing something completely different. They're like another species. And I remember seeing those oldsters exercising at the open spaces in the park when I was on my way to work. I didn't cogitate about it. I didn't like actually think, well, there are different species, but it felt that way. And now I'm on the other side. I'm one of those old people with the wrinkles in the face and the sagging body, sitting there doing ich, ni, zan, ji. Well, the young people in their smart outfits, carrying their briefcase with their serious faces, are marching past on their way to the train station to catch their 6:48 train to Machi. It's a significant change to be on that other side now. And I don't think about it that much, but you can't help but think about it when I'm a part of the radio exercise team now, and I'm watching the young men in their 40s and 50s walk by on their way to work. It's interesting to note. It's a little disconcerting too, because the next stage after this is that you're no longer able to be part of the radio exercise team, and that means you're part of the convalescent home senior citizen team. I mean, you mean deep elderly team, right? But let's not race into that cohort too quickly, Kurt. So what I'm going to do now is that was by way of a very long introduction. I'm going to go over my I'll do three things now. I'll talk about yesterday, the last 24 hours. I'll go over the objectives of the creed, and then I'll talk about what I'm doing today. Yesterday was a very good and productive day. I've set out for myself a course of, the business is doing really well. I mean, better than, like I said yesterday. I jumped to the head of the line in my antique business because I don't have to learn from the mistakes that I run it before. So the business is really successful. It's making money. It's doing really well. I mean, I feel like I could really run with this if I wanted to and make a career of it again if I wanted to. I don't want to because I know what that would do. That would ruin it. If I tried to do this professionally again, I wouldn't enjoy it anymore. Although maybe it wouldn't be as bad as before, because before I was supporting a family. I was raising a kid, sending her to private school. I was, my wife was a stay-at-home mom. I was supporting all of that. And so, I couldn't enjoy being an antique dealer because I had to pay the bills, Now it's fun. It's genuinely fun. It's like everything when I set out, when I became an antique dealer in 2003, and I created the softypapa name as my eBay handle. I did it because it was fun, and I thought, well, this will be fun. I'll do this for a living. It'll be fun. It wasn't fun. Now, it's like, what is it, 18 years later, 17 years later, it's fun. And I think I can keep it fun if I keep it simple. And simple means listing one item a day. That's all I have to do. If I want to list two, I can list two, but only one a day, because that's the thing that really kills you as an antique dealer, or is it doing this for a living, is the churn, the grind. When you have this item, it's like QVC or the shopping channel, when they're like, the speed selling, okay, here's a Maneki Neko, ka-ching, so you list that. Here's a Darumado, try to list that. Bam, speed listing things. It takes all the fun out of it. If you do one a day, and if I try to sell, and if I'm going to the post office, like I've got a good number of sales have racked up, and I deliberately set my processing time to 5 to 10 days. So that's my process. So if you buy something from my store, I've got 10 days to ship it to you. Those are my terms of service, right? So I had a good number of sales over the weekend, and I've communicated to all the buyers that I will have your items out and this week, and I will. Let me see if I can stay balanced. But I don't want to do them like all in one day. I'm like staggering at one, today, tomorrow, the next day, etc. To then, like I said, to manage it, right? So that it doesn't become a pain in the butt. See what I mean? So yesterday was a good day because I listed one item and I shipped one item. So it was a good day. I abided my new cadence, the cadence that I want to keep. It was a really hot day, and so I managed that by sitting in front of the fan reading, and by going down to the river and literally swimming in the river behind my house, which was amazing. So that felt good too. Nevertheless, that, it feels like you can get tired of being on vacation. So that's a whole other thing for a topic for another time. But the point was, yesterday felt productive. Plus, productive because I listed and I shipped. I listed it. It was not only a productive day, it was a profitable day, which feels really good. Plus, Yumiko and I had a really nice lunch. We tried out a new place. That is a hell of a bird that I've never seen in Japan. What the heck was that? Anyway, if it comes closer, I'll turn the camera on if it comes back. Plus, we went to a really nice restaurant. We had a fun time. Really felt like retirement. Yumiko and I we were together all the time, and we went out and had a really great lunch yesterday, and leisurely lunch, and we had enjoyed. Then we went shopping. We went to Don Quixote, which is funny to go to on a Monday after lunch because it's empty and you got the whole place to yourself. And we did some shopping there. We got some things that we needed, just household stuff. We took care of Dad, his lunch. He had stuff. We went over to get him, but it turns out he had already had something at home that was all set up, so he didn't need it. So that's why we went out and had lunch together. We always take care of Dad's lunch otherwise. But the thing to really note yesterday that was really interesting, and this is the thing that's rising and becoming more common, is if life is operating at an RPM level, like a tachometer, for the last 40 years, I've operated near the red zone, really high RPMs. And for the last 2 years, I was in the red zone. I mean, talk about the last 2 years of my career were really hard. I mean, sent me to the hospital, type of bad. Stress off the charts. I've managed in the last 6 months to wind that tachometer down till now it's resting kind of just in a comfortable level above idle. If you've ever tuned a car yourself and get it just tuned just right, and the car's humming just right, that's how life feels right now. It feels like it's idling at this really good level. And what I've done is I've taken some very active measures to adjust that. For example, one of the things I've done, I've told you all before that I'm struggling with driving in Japan for a couple of reasons. One, my eyesight isn't as good as it was. My reaction time has gone down. I've told you before, I'm declining fast. My body and mind are both declining rapidly. So part of the problem with my driving was that I wasn't wasn't accommodating that fact. I was still driving like I was a competent driver. I'm not a competent driver anymore. So what I did was, and I used #reason, which is one of my principles. I used #reason to say, well, Kurt, if you're no longer adept, if your mind isn't as sharp as it once was, and your reaction time isn't as good, and your eyes aren't as good, well, then adjust to that. And what I decided was that I would just slow everything down. I literally took 5 kilometers off of everything, slowing everything down. My following distance behind other cars in front of me has backed off a little bit, and I'm taking more time. And it's worked. It's had great results. I'm no longer because before I was having these moments while I was driving where it was scary for me, where like things would happen all of a sudden, and I'd be like an old man that can't, is confused and a little bit lost about what's going on. And it's scary when that happens. And now that's not happening because I'm driving slower. I'm giving myself more space. I'm taking more time. Like I said yesterday at the end of our time in Donkey, I got in the car, and instead of just putting the car in gear, I know how to get home from Donkey. Instead of doing that, I just sat for a second. I saw a car coming from a distance, and I thought, instead of having that car behind me kind of pressuring me to the parking lot, because that's a younger person, they're going to want to get out of the parking lot. They got places to go. They're young, right? I thought, I'm just going to give it a second and let them go past. Then I won't have anybody behind me. Plus, I used that time to think a little bit about the route home. I'm going to go here. I'm going to make a left turn at Minami Kansen. I'll go down, I'll make a right turn at the other place. There's this one intersection that I need to be a little bit cautious of because it kind of piles up on the right, and if you get out in the middle and it turns, the light arrow ends and it's still packed on the other side, you're stuck in the middle of the street. I don't want that to happen, so I'll hover back in front of the crosswalk, so just in case that happens. You see, I kind of planned it all out. It worked. I had a less stressful drive home. I gave it more time. This is becoming part and parcel of everything, and this effort abides two objectives in my creed. The objective of #limits, to recognize my true limits so that I'm living in accordance with what's real. And then the hashtag, three objectives. Hashtag the good use of time, right? Making good use, and a good use of time doesn't mean just the utilization of that time, but it also means inserting appropriate margins in the time. Like when the margin that I inserted in by allowing the extra time for that person, that younger person in the car, to come in front of me so that I'm not in front of them, that's a margin. And then of course the objective number 7 or 6, which is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, just as I am right now. So what's happening is that this approach is becoming part and parcel of everything that I do now. This is a wholesale sea change. It's climatic, not climactic, but climatic, like a changing of the seasons, where I'm no longer rushing through the day like I did at work as a project manager, rushing through the day to fulfill all of my commitments and meet the deadlines and responsibilities of all of my meetings. I'm moving more deliberately and slowly through the day, taking it piecemeal. And boy, this is good. It's best. I would call this the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's a little bit, and I mentioned this yesterday, it's a whole lot like Neo in, I couldn't remember the name of the movie yesterday. That movie, with the bullets, and he slows down and he's moving like this, and then bullets are flying by. That's exactly how this feels. But imagine feeling like this all the time, all day long. And I think it's because that's exactly what's happening. This whole world around me is operating at a higher RPM level. Everybody's racing about, they're doing the make a buck, right? The make a buck, the make a school, the make a whatever the heck, make a family, all that stuff. No longer, the Matrix, thank you. No longer being encumbered with that responsibility. I've been able to slow down and just like that man across the way, come out, look at the sunlight a little bit, water the plants a little bit in his pajamas, go back in, go about his day. The trick is to keep a useful and engaged life and not fall into the doldrums, right? So being a part of this old group that does the radio exercise, which I need to get up and get moving, I think it's time for me to move, is good. So to that end, let me go ahead and move on to reciting the 8 objectives of my creed, which are, as I already said, a few of them: to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of my time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and to keep my balance. As for today, I'm going to do one listing. I have orders to ship. I'm going to ship one order today. Plus, I have a visitor coming today. Yeah, one of the original J-vloggers is coming down from Tokyo to meet me. Kind of just happened all of a sudden. And we're going to have coffee and lunch today. I'll keep that person's name to myself, privacy. But this is kind of exciting for me to meet somebody, not just meet somebody from the old days. So I'm going to do that. And that's about it. That's all I have planned. Some reading. Reading has become a very important part of my life and my day again. But it's not more just reading. It's reading and learning at the same time, especially utilizing ChatGPT as my sensei, as my tutor to help me along. Let's read comments, and then I'm going to wind down and wrap up and get out of here. Tim. Hi, good morning, Tim. It took me a while to settle into retirement full stop, but the thing I started was a routine, which is pretty important as it gives me some purpose and direction, definitely. Yeah, so yeah, I'm discovering that need as well, Tim. Thank you for sharing. I always appreciate hearing the experience from you, my senpai, in the retirement journey, because even though each of our stories is different, the kind of like the landscape is the same, right? Good morning, Sam. Tim says good morning to Sam. Sam says yo. Tim goes on. Do you find, Kurt, it's hard to slow down in retirement? I found in the first 6 months I was rushing around so much doing stuff I couldn't understand why. I find this is the hard part. I didn't really think about it. I was just operating in my normal high level of RPMs, and it's slowing down now. It's coming naturally to me now. I don't know. It's definitely slowing down, but it's. I don't remember actually thinking about it, but I started to. But yesterday I definitely thought about it with regard to driving, but it seems to be happening all around. Tim goes on. To do things more slowly sounds crazy when you have all the time in the world. But Tim, does this happen to you too? Sure, we have all the time in the world, but like this morning I was walking over here and to the park, and I was like, I don't have all the time in the world. I mean, death feels very, when you're even as into my early 50s, I was feeling there's this kind of this tacit sense of immortality. Like, I've always got time, I can rush, I can do it, take care of it, I got stuff to do, I got things to do, I can do it, but I don't feel that way at all anymore. I feel like death is coming. My ability to appreciate the world, to sense the world is declining, and the best way to enjoy life is to enjoy it more slowly. Stop racing around so much. There's Journey. Hi, Journey. Juno the Rail fan. Howdy, Kurt. What's going on? Journey, it's good to hear from you, Journey. I hope all is well. Tim goes on. When listing your items, it's a great idea to describe the item on video as it brings it to life than just the photos alone. I can remember in your store if you gave a video link for each item. I used to do that in my store, and when I had it before, I put a link not for every item, but for most items. I can't do that now. I can do that, but I also list them on eBay and my YouTube store. The eBay will accept a video, but I've got a technical issue I've got to overcome. Old account Joe reminds me it's The Matrix. That's the movie I keep trying to remember. Thank you. Tim says, think you answered my earlier question about moving more slowly. Good. Sam, you're going to make a video with that JVlogger? I don't think I will. If he wants to make a video, then he can make a video, but I don't think I will. Erica. Hi, Erica. Hope all is well. Thank you. I hope all is well with you. It is. Things are good. Tim says, yes, it's like there's still much to pack in your life, but more slowly at your pace, I guess, Tim. Yeah. You know what? I'll finish with this thought, Tim. Also, I feel like a dear and almost desperate need to curate the moments. Given that I feel like I have so few good moments left in life, I don't want to waste them. Like I brought over about 40 books with me from America, and I carefully curated those books before I came to Japan. I said, these are the books that I want to read at the end of my life. Because this is what it feels like. It feels like the end of my life. Because I don't want to waste my time. So these are the best books, that I want to read. Like Moby Dick, I'm reading it again, right? Because Moby Dick is a great book. I could list the titles, but that's irrelevant. So yeah, I want to make good and effective use of this time because time is so precious and fleeting now. With that, everybody, speaking of which, it's time for me to walk and join the oldsters for morning exercise. I wish you all the best, everybody. I hope you'll have a good day and make good use of your time. Take care for now. Bye-bye.